Firstly, I convey namaskaras to Swamiji. Namaskaras. And I convey namaskaras to our senior, Jaishil Raji, and with his and Srinivas Shastriji. With his blessings, I'll start my sharing my views. In fact, coming to the concept of role of media in propagation of culture. Like so far, first we have to understand what exactly is the medium, how exactly this media has evolved. If you observe the evolution of media, if you take in our Vedic period or in our ancient period, so how was the media? Was in the same way. So from there, I'll start the presentation. In fact, if you observe our ancient period, in ancient India, we see that we don't have such kind of things. What we have, but we had much more efficient technique or much more efficient media. I would like to quote a single example is before the only medium through which the information is propagated or handed over to people is only by the authenticated way and completely debated way. Say that some book or some particular information has to be released into society. So there used to be huge debates going on. So on that particular subject, there will be a huge debate going on. Say that I write a book. So that will be subjected to a debate. So there used to be a lot of discussions. So once that particular discussions are done, so matter will be authenticated and only authenticated, completely verified, debated. Such information used to be only given to society. It means that they have given much more importance to the information which they are giving to society. So here what they have considered is, so before giving to society, it has to be thoroughly verified in all the perspectives and then hand out to the society. So that is here, education was the medium through which society was, society was fed with information. So that is how the concept of medium started. So in previous era, medium was there. Education was the only medium. But now but as time passed, when cultural invasion on India happened, so then what happened was the Britishers were able to identify properly that the only medium through which Indians get information and get enlightened is only education. That is what our Vedic education is, in fact. So what they constructively, very in a planned way, they were able to disturb the concept of education. And in fact, parallelly they have removed the kingship also, because kings used to recruit only the Vedic scholars and particular subject-oriented people only, because of which there was a cycle running that if you learn from Gurukulam, you say Nyaya Shastra you have learned. So with respect to the subject, the king used to recruit him in there. So that is how the structure was framed, in fact. Education as a pivoted point, so our structure was completely framed. And that used to be the medium through which people, communication to people was done. But whereas after this particular system has come, so Britishers wantedly, in a planned way, they bifurcated the complete process. They bifurcated the complete system so the concept of media in India has completely, distorted totally, because of which we are in a huge chaos. Then we started following the Western methodologies. So from there, we reached to this stage where we are having a newspaper. Of course, it's a good sign, in fact, newspapers, print media and all. But whereas we see in the present media, we are much more in a thought of, secular. I don't term it as secular, in fact. That's a kind of, it's a fascinating secular concept, to be frank. So in that process, what we are trying to do is, though it is good, we ourselves have a fear, say that NASA, declares that Sanskrit is one of the most artificial language, but we are afraid to put in a paper that Sanskrit is a most, authoritative language. And when NASA declares that we are using a Pandit to make astrological calculations, why can't our media put that in a front page? It's only because we lack the individuality of particular aspect, in fact. So our medium was only education, through which authentic information used to go. But whereas now, in media, how many people are really debate and try to bring the news? What the today media is writing is aimed at is writing their own perceptions. It's not the information. So because of which society is in chaos. So one newspaper writes that, this is right. The other newspaper writes this is wrong. So what to believe? So they have, in fact, today's media has kept, people in a very chaotic situation that people don't know what to believe. I'll quote a single example. Once what happened was there happened an attack on Israel embassy in 2011. So complete media, blamed that, Iran did it, basically. Iran did it. So then what happened was, then again news came that no, Israel did it. Then again news came that no, America did it. Then again told that no, it's done by Maoists. I mean, what to believe, basically. But actual thing, what happened was, if you take, as Iran were giving, sanctions to, as there was a fight between Iran and Iran, so Iran cancelled the deal with America, because of which they made friendship with India. So America got irritated, and so they interfered and put this particular bomb attack in. They themselves did attack on the Israel embassy and told India that it is done by Iran. So our media started writing in the same way, basically. This is one single example, in fact, what I would like to, how our media is trying to divert us. Say that a news comes that a Swamiji is particularly involved in such thing. So today media writes. And some other guy comes and tells something else. So they also write it. Recently also we have been seeing someone speaking that, I don't know who, I don't want to mention the name. So they started telling that, Sanskritam is absolutely barbarian even today, in fact. After this many facts, our own media people started claiming that Sanskritam is the most barbarian language, and Vedas are absolutely this, that, and all. Janajagarana Samanti. Many, societies come into picture and they debate in TV5, TV9. I don't name it or not. In fact, they start debating, in a negative perspective. So we are not at all trying to travel in a positive perspective. Say that it is good. Why not we appreciate it? In fact, because we don't have the ethics in the media. Initially, there was a situation where every human being used to always try to go beyond his senses. So where he want to find himself in synchronization with the morality and the ethical code. So that is to be in sync with God. But whereas now, if you see, there is no such kind of thing. So now media started framing the laws. Media suggests to frame the laws based upon the society. But my perspective is, your laws should not be based upon the society. Rather, it should be based upon the individual relation with the eternal entity. The reason is, people may say that based upon society we have to form. But the contradictory point here is, what is society? It's nothing but a collection of individuals and individual ideologies. Say that when you in order to form the society law, you have to take individual in consideration. What individual strives? He strives to find his connection with particular something beyond his scope. So when he's trying to find something beyond it, so then that particular situation should be the morality, and the morality is what he's trying to aim at, basically, and ethical code is what he's trying to aim at. But whereas we don't consider that particular thing what an individual wants. We take some particular perspective of ours and we start rubbing onto the people. So because of which the society is absolutely in chaos. So we have to start modifying in this particular manner. Rather, let us take an individual. What is exactly the individual aiming? So that is how the media evolution should start. Rather, a group of people sitting in the particular chair, so make the decisions and write down the people. That's absolutely useless, which doesn't make any sense here. That is why though we have a great people, we are not seeing in the picture. Recently, government has announced 25 very great people in India. They have done great contributions. I was really astonished. Of course, I'm not astonished, but that is most, pathetic situation is, there was Tendulkar, there was Amitabh Bachchan, there was Shah Rukh Khan, Rajnikant, but not even a single Vedic scholar was there. And our president has declared that Indians have generated genius long back, but now we don't have genius. Then why did you give these awards? When we don't have genius, why do we need awards? It's not that you have failed, in identifying the particular, great scholars. In fact, we have seen many people who are contributing to India, contributing very much to the society, but we haven't been seen on the paper. Say that, as Srinivas Shastriji told, that I saw that lighting lamp has happened. Actually, this event is not about lighting lamp. Rather, a particular yajna is going on here. It's a yajna, it's a continuous yajna of 2 days, with nearly 2 months or 3 months of, a lot of scholars' work, in fact. So that is not considered. So they are considered only in something else. Say that, what society writes, based upon the, in the surface, they start writing the things up, because of which they are not able to perceive what exactly the truth is. So our duty should be to perceive what exactly truth is. That is what our journal Inner Voice of Bharat is aimed at, in fact. So we take from the base of every human being is philosophical thought, because that forms the foundation of a human being, in fact, and that will be the end of the, his achievement also, in fact. So philosophy only is what defines what exactly a human being is. So that is what he always aims at. So that our media ethics should be oriented towards that particular perspective, rather than writing this, rather than writing this kind of vulgar news, which is not at all useful for people. How many people preserve their newspapers? I don't think anyone preserves newspapers, other than giving to Gujli, telling that no, it is of no use, so dump it. That is in order to explain the present situation of media, that is what I would like to tell example, that's it. It's only a garbage paper, always recycled and fed to people. But there is no proper information in it. So we have to, look in a proper perspective, in fact, and start imbibing ethical code, morality into people. So that is only what a true media is. And it should be defined only based upon this particular two foundations, only then, people can be in a very peaceful situation, rather than writing this kind of vulgar news into people and, absolutely disturbing. We have to write a great message of Swamijis like him. So when they give great message, that will never be in the front page. Rather, some Tendulkar or, some say that, some Shah Rukh Khan comes to Bangalore, that will be on the front page. Whereas a Swamiji kind of people give lecture here, that will never be on the front page. It means that we are not at all concerned about the morality or, ethical code. So that only clearly defines today what our children do. As soon as paper comes, they open the film news. Why? The reason is very simple. Because they have been continuously educated by media that no, you should go in wrong direction. No, you should go in wrong direction. In order to show that you should not do wrong thing, I have seen one channel, showing that some vulgarity in movies has to be removed. To be frank, vulgarity has to be removed is the last point of the particular video. Rather, vulgarity is completely shown. And at last, they will tell that no, vulgarity should not be done. What it makes a sense? It absolutely makes nonsense, basically. So that is why we are like this here. That is why a great, such kind of yajna is going on. We have less people. It's not the people's fault, because people don't know it. It's a job of media to propagate such kind of good thoughts into people, which we are failing in fact. So that is what our media should be always focused on, trying to imbibe, on topic named Advanced Scientific Disciplines and their Vedic Roots. Firstly, I do my pranams to the great teachers who has inspired me and filled knowledge in me. Firstly, the first teacher, Dr. E.G. Radhan sir, with whom I have been associated from past many years, because of which I was introduced to this topic called the scientific aspect of Vedas. That is what the individuality of our country is, in fact. The second teacher was Srinivas Kidambi. He is not here. He's in Canada. So he's another guru who has inspired me. The other part of life was a complete introduction to what Veda is, in fact, what Vedic world is, none other than Sri Krishna Bhaji and Srimati Krishna Bhaji. Thank you, sir. I'm going to start my presentation. Next. Yeah, right now we have been coming across the most fancy concept called Vedic sciences. But to be frank, this is not a fancy concept which today world is going around it, but it's much more philosophical and which is beyond our imagination. But our duty is to bring it to ground. So that is why these conferences are being held. So as a process of that, so far in our country, we believe that the Vedas are dealt with only in the process of only chanting. But to be frank, our ethical way and show to the world that what exactly this Veda Bhumi can do. In the process of that, we have achieved many feats, like say Bharadvaja Vimanaka Shastram and metallurgical fields and various fields, astronomy for that matter, and various fields for that matter. And whereas the world completely recognized that India is the only supreme power in the terms of spirituality, which is a guiding factor of this particular world, beyond time and space, in fact. So as a process of that, we were able to do it, but as the time passed, we were able to resist after world finding that India is the most wealthiest country, not only by wealth, by natural resources and all, but culturally, spiritually, in the point of education, it is much more advanced than any other country. This particular process has pushed the world to come and attack India to prove their supremacy. As a process of that only, there happened cultural invasions.
I want to very specifically tell that this particular attack, what has been done on India, is not for wealth alone. It's been a cultural invasion happening on India from past 1,000 years. Still, we were able to resist that particular invasion, and we were able to at least throw back to some extent. Today, this conference is happening. It's only because our great saints and great scholars were able to preserve that particular culture, which whereas Western believe that culture or knowledge is only hidden in books, but we believe in that the knowledge is within us. Aham Brahmasmi, as Rajan sir said. So that's what we believed in. So that is the reason why we are able to survive our culture and traditions, because of which we are having such kind of conferences. So this particular cultural degradation has started from past 50 years in a much more rapid way. It took to a very impulse, it went to a higher level in the graph, in fact. So in this particular invasion, what's happening? So we failed to fight back to an extent where we have to fight, because we have the great history. The great history is the only inspiration which a man can move further, and that is what has to be there. If you ask our children that do you know about your grandfather? So hardly recalls and tells the grandfather name. If you ask his grandfather or that grandfather, I don't think he'll be able to tell. So in family structure only we are missing that particular historical thought. So that is the reason why we are here. So this particular thought has given advantage for the Western countries who want to invade on our culture. So as a process of that advantage only, we can see that a lot of rare manuscripts were sent to US illegally. So see, if the rare manuscripts were sent to US illegally, means it is not that they took illegally. We permitted them to take it legally. Basically, it's a legal action with our authentication, because our failure is there. Because of that only this happened. And where did the manuscripts go? Basically, all the manuscripts were told to Indians that those are just a piece of like a garbage. So it's of no use to India. So they told that we are very good garbage collectors. The US Western world told that we are good garbage collectors, and they said we will take and the garbage collection points are universities in the West. So they've taken all the scriptures to the Western countries, and that is what one particular the first slide, the first photo, what it shows is the Sanskrit manuscripts library what the Pennsylvania University contains, and they have been doing extensive research, not just for the past 20 to 30 years. It's been more than 500 years. They have did thoroughly research on Indian particulars, the concretization of Indian concept, and why exactly this culture has survived from many crores of centuries, lakhs of centuries. So that is what astonished them. So we all know that how Lord Macaulay was able to precisely devise the plan to demolish Indian culture, which is Indian education, which is the prime foundation of this particular country. Next slide, please. Yes, in 1960 and between 1960 and 1975, US government stated that we have excess wheat. So they said, as we know that Western countries treat that India is the third world country and the degraded country of that's why a Slumdog Millionaire movie is made on us, in fact. So all the wheat has been sent to India, telling that it has a donation. But later the US demanded that we need a price for that. You didn't pay price for it. So we asked them that you have donated, right? Then they said it's not a donation. You have to pay for it. So you might have misread the document, because you Indians don't know much English. So later what they demanded is India has no other way. So because complete world is controlled by them. So they asked Hinton what we can do. We can't give that much money what you're demanding. So then what they told is, we don't need money from you. We don't need anything from you. What we need is, we want the copy of every book in your library. And all the manuscripts were sent to these particular universities called New Jersey Institute of Technology, University of Texas Austin, California State of University at Los Angeles. And in that process, there happened in 2009 one particular incident where in Kolhapur, near Mahalakshmi temple, the Veda Pathashala in Kolar. So what they did is, during that particular period, they have thrown the 3 boxes of Vedic manuscripts, telling that this is a garbage, we can't maintain it, to the municipality. So after that, what happened was, the municipality was, municipality treated it so generously, and they passed on the information to the US intelligence, and US purchased all the garbage to their universities. So that is what has happened here is. So one more incident I would like to quote is, especially most of the people will be knowing about Vaimanika Shastra, which is a much more fancy subject. Today we have been, it's been like, pondering the youth. So that Vaimanika Shastra, when China attacked India, they got when the China attacked the Tibet part of India, they were able to extract the manuscripts from that particular part, and they clearly told the soldiers that not to destroy any temple because every temple has got the maximum manuscripts. So they were able to scan all the walls of the temples, and they were able to they were able to extract that there is particular information in this there are some Sanskrit texts in between the walls of the temple, and they were able to extract it. And the irony is that they have sent the same text to India, that to Punjab University, a professor named Ruth. They sent to her, and she translated all the text to the Chinese language, and one copy has been given to us also, where we were able to successfully disprove that Vaimanika Shastra is nothing but a junk, that's it. And we told that how can mercury be a fuel? And I don't know which, I think IISc Bangalore only has proved that it is absolutely foolish that to tell that mercury can be worked as fuel, because it has got a lot of, it is not as good as our so-called fuels and all. But NASA has done from past 45 years, NASA has done research on mercury working as a fuel, and they were able to conclude that in ionic state mercury will work as a fuel and can boost the speed of the rocket 10,000 times more than what exactly today rockets has. In fact, they were able to conclude that. And not only that, there is also one particular space shuttle released by NASA called Space Taxi, which exactly resembles the Rukma Vimana. So these all, I would like to say that these all things show that what we thought is waste is what the strength of ours. Next slide, please. So current situation in India is in Tirupati. Once what happened was they found some few manuscripts. So the manuscripts, they found the manuscripts. It didn't come in the media. So then later what happened was the manuscripts appeared in US. So that the one coolie person who was digging the particular pits for the such of manuscripts, he didn't get the money what the lobbying people has to give. So he came to media and told that some manuscripts were found. It's been not told to media, and it's been sent to US. So again the TTD authorities were asked that what about the manuscripts? So they clearly declared that your manuscripts were sent to US for digitization. When our country, we declared that one of the best software industries, why can't we do normal digitization of manuscripts? Not only that, in Osmania University also, once they have sent the manuscripts to Israel, and Iran also they have sent manuscripts. Why are we such a poor nation that we don't have the capacity to hold the individuality of our own country? That's been proved that we failed to prove our individuality, or we failed to showcase to the world that we do have an individuality. Next slide, please. And this is the result of the manuscripts taken from India. Result of that is one particular subject called cymatics. The cymatics is all about that you give a sound wave, it automatically generates the particular structure of that sound. In fact, based upon that, that's what Hans Journey is one scientist. What he did is he gave the Omkaram to the particular equipment what he developed, and he tried to see what exactly the structure it comes. So when he was able to do that, he was able to get Sri Chakra. In fact, this is not mine. I'm not trying to put my views here. It's very clearly visible that this is not mine. This is what we believe Indians that a Western certification is what we believe that correct. So that is what the Western certification is. In fact, next slide, please. So this is what there is a book called Anti-Gravity, which was written by Childress. He did research on Vaimanika Shastra. He stated that when we mark the points, energy points on the earth, all the energy points of the earth, so it completely comes to like a kind of Sri Chakra. That is what the principle, he says, that's been the navigation technique what they have used in navigation in the aeroplanes in the ancient India. Come on. Go for the video. There is a video. There's a video called Vaimanika Shastra. Last one. Yes. Go forward. Go forward. In this particular video, the propulsion system engineer from NASA has stated that Vimanas are Vimanas are not a fancy concept which Indians were using for the movies, but rather it is true. So that particular the video, the documentary which was made by the History Channel clearly proves that scientifically they prove that Indians were the first to make such kind of hydroplanes. Forward it, little bit forward. 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 Little bit forward. Little bit forward. On forward.
That could be used to drive some sort of and having aerial flights. It was described that it sometimes appeared to be in two places at once.
These are all Western certified, so that we can have some trust, I guess.
These descriptions are consistent with people who observe UFOs today.
Yeah, I can.
Other Sanskrit
Because it's a long video, I don't want to show it for a long time because we are left with only 8 minutes. So I would like to
there can be found descriptions of Vimana, which is why
I mean, in this particular documentary, the NASA scientist clearly says that Indian had the best propulsion system what the world can never produce, and they had the best systems which world can never imagine. So that is what is. Play one more video so that. This is one. This is a paper, produced by NASA by Rick Briggs. What Vanitha Ramaswamy madam has stated yesterday. So this is a paper This is a paper produced by NASA. This particular Rick Briggs, he did research on our Sanskrit grammar for nearly 30 to 40 years, and his professor did, research on this particular, Sanskrit as a computer language for another 60 years, and altogether 100 years of research has been put in this paper. And after seeing this, then our government, woke up and told that, yes, I think we have some individuality, or our Sanskrit language is not a barbarian language, and started some research where Vanitha Ramaswamy ji has, contributed a lot to it. In fact, I thank madam a lot on this occasion. Close this. And we were thinking that, does our chanting has any power, or we just chant? Why our people, are they mad that continue the tradition of chanting blindly? For that, the NASA only, in fact, took the initiative of doing research on what is the power that why these Indians have been chanting for many centuries. Are they mad or what? Repeatedly chanting again and again and again and again. What is the madness that is running around India? So for past many centuries, in fact. So what they did is, to know the power of mantra, what they did is, they did one particular experiment, in fact, where they proved that mantra has a capacity to lift, a sound has a capacity to lift objects. So there is one video called acoustic elevation. Maximize it. This is one video where one of the NASA scientists has experimented that whether sound can lift the object or not. That is a proof that after that they started giving the Veda mantras and check whether these mantras can lift an object, what kind of frequency they have it. And the same particular mantra therapy only they started using on health, in fact. Yesterday, as Dr. Arati has said, that one of the Japanese scientists, in fact, he was able to properly use the music therapy, in fact, to heal the cancer patients. So this is one scientist. You can see that a cork has been, they use sound to lift the particular cork. I mean, using that sound, they are able to rotate the object also, in fact. I think this is a golf ball, I guess. Close it. It's not a cartoon, it's a fact, by the way. So that is what the achievement of is. So my, finally I would like to conclude that is, one more video, I'm sorry, to show that, like what Westerners, there is a video called British. Yeah, please play that. At least by this, our students will start, like the present generation or the kids, will start taking up this as a profession, in fact. Forward it. Forward. No, please, please. So this is one such incident which NDTV has. So when the London British were able to tell that Indians are barbarians, and we learn a barbarian language called called Sanskritam, and we follow the barbarian techniques called Vedic chanting, and we follow the barbarian culture called Vedic Sanatana Dharma culture. Then why are they learning Sanskritam? Please, little bit.
Because of brilliant linguistic training, they use parts of their mouth.
And he is the HOD, he is the head of the department of the Sanskrit department, in fact.
Very inspiring philosophical concepts, and this is why we teach it.
I enjoy learning Sanskrit because I suppose it's one of the few schools that now study it, and I feel it benefits you if you're not different ways. I mean, as we did speaking wise, it helps you
Forward a little bit.
really pronounce
more.
words and diction. It's a beautiful story and not different ways.
Close it. You can close it. What the British kids were able to tell, to be frank, I can tell. It's not to show that I'm the worst or something, but it's a time to look back. It's a time to awake. It's a time to arise. It's a time to fight back and look back to our culture. That is a history. That is what the history of ours is. As the one who forgets the history is no more an individual. He's just equal to a dead body. He's a lifeless body. That's it. It's of no use. We don't need the bodies, which doesn't have the life. The life comes with the history. Our great grandfathers, what exactly our great gurus have achieved. Unless we recall these particular standards, till then we cannot call ourselves as living beings. So it's not being human is human being. In fact, realizing that we are Atman, that is what is human being is. That's what our God expects, or in fact, that is our destiny is. In fact, that is what Aham Brahmasmi. So other than that, nothing is there. In fact, so let us start analyzing ourselves. That's when we start finding our own truths. It's something like we start searching for something. Some truth is there, some truth is there, but finally we conclude that no truth is within us only. So thank you for giving this opportunity.